We are going to deal with the subject matter: Are you in sin? Are you in debt? Well, I believe that if we talk to the collective audience out there that's watching, they would have to admit that they've got debts. So they're in debt, and we're going, but Christ canceled out the debt, so how could that be? And people take that down a direction that, oh, that can't be. That's not what he meant there. And that's what we did the video before, relating to the fact that he was traded for money. He was made sin, he was made debt. They actually put money, they put a blood price of money on him, and he basically became that. They brought him into the jurisdiction of the legal, even though he wasn't in the legal and wasn't in any error. And we know that certainly he would never feign his heavenly Father by being a member of the Roman Empire. So, in the situation that we're in, the subject we're dealing with, people will say that they're not, they're not in sin, and I find that is a little humorous when you look at the documents that we have, which the statement of birth record is really just look at it as they're bidding to see which way you go. Are you going to enter in sin at your 18th birthday, age of election? Who did you elect? I know at 18 I didn't elect Jesus Christ. I elected to be a secular servant of the Mammon God. And therefore, I even signed a contract to do that. And we're going to have a really very good video coming that's going to explain something along this line in a manner, an illustration that will bring you to clarity on it, so that you're not going to end up in the confused of the sovereignty free men on the land movements, any of these groups that think they're going to rewrite man's law and they're going to manipulate the system of the legalists. They're going to still play in their sandbox. They have a new special way of doing things in order to get remedy. Certainly a fallacy, because they don't understand law and they don't understand God. So this is just a bid that was made, and it had to give the child an opportunity one way or the other. But at the beginning, the child's innocent. So this really doesn't even kick in. This particular thing doesn't happen until the child acts on this instrument. Whether the parents got it or not, it's not the child's fault. But if the child chooses to do the right thing, this would never happen. This would be canceled. So we're going to look at the book of Colossians, chapter 2. I'm reading out of the King James because many times the King James Bible, and I have brought up the American Standard with the Gideons under the, because they placed a lot of these in the hotel rooms, and many places, jails especially. But the writing in the King James becomes more clear at times because it seems to be more directed in an understanding of the legal sense that's going on, what we're surrounded by. And so now I begin to understand why certain things are said the way they are, because they're talking in a little bit down where your feet are for the moment to get you to comprehend. So I can understand why the commoners would have had a book written in the format that it was, the Bible, translated in that manner into English, very confusing language, to take the original Greek or the original Hebrew and then translated into English. But we're going to look at Colossians. I'm reading specifically because I'm going to read you out of Black's Law on something that matches this. And I did this way back near the beginning of my videos, back in the early years of 2011, somewhere in between there, but 2011 to 2015. But Colossians 2 verse 14 reads, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. And having spoiled principalities and powers, He made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. So when I go to the Black's Law, I'm reading out of the 3rd edition, a little tattered as you can see. I've been in there quite a few times. Pardon is the word, because Jesus really pardoned us. Because what he did for us was an act of grace. Under the sin and the debt that Adam brought on to mankind, if we continue down the Adamic or Adamnation direction of the world, we will end up actually turning down a free pardon. The pardon is already here for us, and it's actually even on that birth record that I was showing you. So when we go to pardon, it first starts off in Blacks. It says an act of grace proceeding from the power entrusted with the execution of the laws. Now remember, Romans 13 says they have the right to execute the laws. Do what is good, receive favor. Do what is evil, they'll bear the sword against you. Which exempts the individual on whom it is bestowed from the punishment of the law inflicts for a crime he has committed. Well, we know that's what Christ did. Now, if I'm trying to cross the line between what Christ did for me and trying to use Caesar's title and go down a direction which violates even his directions to not store up or lay up treasures on earth. This is for people who lay up treasures on earth. That's what these certificates are for. But Christ basically did not direct us to do that. It says it releases punishment and blots out the existence of guilt. Blots it out. Now in the legal, they couldn't do that, because if they did that, the record wouldn't have the opportunity. How could they blot something out before you have an opportunity to choose? So they underline it. They know it's nothing more than an accusation and a supposition. But that's the legal system which allows you the free will to choose. Now, certainly your given name is not, your God-given name is not meant for secular activities. But it's not meant to be mixing in and claiming and commingling and becoming unequally yoked with the other title that belongs to Caesar. So all the money belongs to Caesar, whether you want to believe that or not. It's not yours, and we're going to deal with that in another video that will give you a good illustration of why that is so. So again, the pardon, especially what Jesus did, and even in the legal world when they pardon somebody, it releases punishment and blots out the existence of guilt, so that in the eyes of the law, the offender is as innocent as if he had never committed the offense.